T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. T-minus 5 minutes. minus 3 minutes. Minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Well, hello, RP Show fans. Welcome to the RP Show on a Thursday. As usual, we're going to have some fun here over the next 2 hours. I'm going to throw a slight curveball at you, which is a nice change because I've been getting curveballs thrown at me all week. I'll lob them the other way. No Kevin the Medium here in hour one, but he sends his regards, probably watching right now. He's on the Trans-Canada Highway. So it's just you and me. I get to be the Larry King of sports. Hello. For the next hour. And then in hour two, as we remain on Game Plus Television in hour two, but go to air across Nevada on Silver State Sports, we'll be joined by my good and longtime friend, Jamie Heward from the Henderson Silver Knights, NHL alum, 393 games in the Big Show, and currently an assistant coach with the American Hockey League's Henderson Silver Knights, the American Hockey League affiliate of the Vegas Golden Knights. So we're going to have a fantastic hockey talk with my boy Huey, who is also involved in the Country Thunder ownership group, and they're the newest sponsor of the RP Show. As Cactus Jack says, it's all turning out nice again. This is the warm-up brought to you by our good friend Neil Chark, Uniglobe Carefree Travel, the official travel partner of the RP Show, and the BC Lions. The big story is a lot of things. It's a lot of things. I feel like I'm going to wait until after the opening break to talk about probably the biggest news of it all. Kirk Cousins is signing with the Las Vegas Raiders. That came down this morning on this Thursday morning. I feel like this opening segment isn't enough time to talk about Kirk Cousins going to the Raiders. So that's point two. Number one, the big story for me is NHL. And just for the simple fact that there's a game here tonight in Sunrise, the Boston Bruins are coming to town. to face the Florida Panthers. It's nowhere near the marquee game of the night. As a matter of fact, I should back it up a little bit and talk about last night. There were 3 games in the NHL, and I mean, come on. I'd have gone 3 for 3 if it wasn't for what happened in Denver. Colorado's Nathan McKinnon is the first player to reach 50 goals this season. He scored in the first period of the Avalanche's 8-6 loss to Vancouver. I'd have been 3 for 3 if not for that. Like, what? I saw our boy Jesse Pollock in Winnipeg just going, this league, or somebody said that. Like, what the, who sees Vancouver going in and beating the number 1 team in the NHL? 8-6 in Ball Arena. But that was one of 3 games last night, so I went 2 for 3 on the picks. Had that one wrong. But listen, the biggest smoke right now is not coming from on the ice. And I now would be a good time to tell you the text line's open, 902-518-3033. If you want to reach us for Western Dodge, to talk about any of these topics that come to mind today, 902-518-3033. Haven't even opened up the phone yet, so we'll see what people are saying there. And then the YouTube chat as well. YouTube chat as well is live. It's this Linus Ullmark situation out of Ottawa. I mean, and I'm sitting down here in South Florida, thanking God every day that I am out of the Canadian sports media glare of the National Hockey League, because I can't imagine what's going on up there. I do. I see it. Okay, Linus Ullmark, the goalie for the Ottawa Senators. You tell me. I want to, what do I say here when it's just you and me? You're the co-host, okay? Via text or the YouTube chat, tell me what you're seeing, okay? We're going to try it and make this as much fun as possible for what it's not a very fun situation for a lot of people. Okay, I have not watched the Wingmen podcast, which is hosted by Brady and Matthew Tkachuk. But listen, whether you want to admit it or not, whether you like those two or not, a lot of Canadian hockey fans don't. They're the face of the NHL right now. And you're saying, what are you getting at, right? The Wingmen podcast, Matthew Tkachuk and Brady Tkachuk had their dad, Keith Tkachuk, on the show this week on their podcast, and they were ripping players for being soft, and everybody's alluding that they were saying that they were alluding to Linus Ullmark, the Ottawa goalie, and that he hasn't been able to play. Why can't you play back-to-back? Keith Tkachuk's like, in my day, Grant Fuhr played 70 games. That's all true. That's all true. Okay, that's true. Fuhr did play 70 games. It's an NHL record. And anyways, Brady laughed at that. Poor Brady, in a way, you know. He got caught chuckling in the back of the room when Donald Trump made his comments about the U.S. women's Olympic team. And all of a sudden, Brady's got to answer for that. And now here's Brady laughing about what his dad said. Now he's got to answer for that. And tonight, the Ottawa Senators are home to the Buffalo Sabres. And we'll be making our picks a little later. And I'm sitting here thinking for Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon, Pump Jack's Weyburn, Pump Jack's Cathedral. If you are still thinking about lunch plans, supper plans, I advocate for Pump Jack's. And they sponsor our picks every day. Carlos, chill on the typo. We're good. Chill on the typo. Thanks. So where I'm sitting here with the Ottawa Senators, I guess people were asking to speak with Brady Tkachuk this morning and Linus Ullmark, the media, ahead of tonight's game against the Buffalo Sabres. And people are like, the Sens are like, no, they're not talking. They're not talking. This is a very, very, very bad situation for the Ottawa Senators. And it's kind of funny because, you know, Mike Richards was on the air with us on Tuesday, and I said, what's your take on this Senators situation? He's like, I'm not following the Ottawa Senators. The iconic Mike Richards, he's like, you might as well ask me about a WNBA team. I'm not paying attention to Ottawa, which is fine. Mike is like the Johnny Toronto guy. But I'm trying to stay on top of all of this. And that's why I got a kick when the guy wrote in yesterday, David, number 1 from Winnipeg. He said, are you following this Artemis thing? I'm like, what? I found out after the show it's NASA and a trip to the moon. No, I'm not following rocket launches to the, no. You want to talk about the Houston Rockets? Yeah. Kevin Durant? Sure. But NASA? No, I'm not following that. So we have a lot of viewers in Ottawa. The ratings tell us that, certainly Ontario. And I'm thinking about this game tonight for the Ottawa Senators against the Buffalo Sabres. Like, they are probably pretty damn close to rock bottom. What I saw here the other night, 5-0 in the first period against the Panthers, and Ullmark gets pulled. I'm just going to tell you, He's cooked. He's cooked. And the media wants to talk to him. What do you expect him to say? He got thrown under the bus by his teammate on that podcast. It's as bad as it gets. And yeah, I just did look it up. He's got 3 years left on his contract at $8 million plus per year. Oh, and the Spit and Chiclet guys, I'm seeing this all over. Apparently ripped Allmark on the latest edition of Spit and Chiclets, which is like the soundtrack of the NHL right now, whether the NHL likes it or not. It's a small league. I had to do very little digging to find out what really is going on with Ottawa. And unfortunately, Linus Allmark doesn't have a lot of support. Whether that's good or not, he doesn't have support. So we'll see how that's reflected in the picks for tonight. But can we say that's the marquee game of the night? Buffalo at Ottawa? I don't think there's any doubt. But we got a real fun poll question. We've got some breaking NFL news to get to. Kirk Cousins is a Las Vegas Raider. We got their power rankings. The Blue Jays lost their first series. We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop, edgier seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Papikassis Developments Limited.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
All right, welcome back, everybody. The RP Show continuing on this Thursday, episode number 1710. Yakking it up on the old Yak Box here, Game Plus TV, WQVZ Radio as well. Shout out to our guy Ryan O'Radio down there in the U.S. South, where they carry our show every day. So trying to have as much fun with this as we can, trying to keep it as light as we can. And before I go any further on the Linus Ullmark situation and turn the page to the NFL, the poll question today, they're always fun. Today's particularly fun, and I stole it. I'm not going to hide the fact that I stole it from the Twitter account, NHL94.com. The greatest video game ever made, NHL 94. He said, he had this tweet this morning, poll. What is the hockey mecca of the world? Basically city, but you can say the arena too if you want. Is it Toronto, Scotiabank Arena? If you want to go back, Maple Leaf Gardens before that. Montreal, Centre Bell, Montreal Forum. Or New York, and let's just say Madison Square Garden. Or other. And I had to stop and think about it. I really did. And thankfully, as of last weekend, I've now been to them all. Let me see what they're saying on Twitter, by the way. What are they saying? Here's the poll. What's the mecca of hockey? It's what I said. 65% saying Montreal. And don't get upset, Toronto. 23% saying Toronto. 4% saying New York. And 8% saying other. Like, what on the earth could be other? Those are the three. You just got to pick one. And how did I settle on this? If you ask anybody who's never been to an NHL game before, and they say, where do I got to go? Everybody will tell you the Bell Center. And that's not to say that makes it the Mecca. It makes it the Beehive. It makes it the greatest arena in the NHL, and it just is. And Toronto at one, we used to say, and don't get me started on the junior hockey because people have told me, Rod, you need to give your thoughts on the pathetic attendance for the Regina Pats and these playoffs. My team that I was with for 15 years on radio alone, let alone TV. That was the mecca of junior hockey. Toronto was the mecca of the NHL, and maybe in media circles it still is. But the numbers don't lie. 65% saying it's Montreal. Some time, I guess nothing lasts forever. Maybe Toronto and the Queen City don't have the chutzpah that they used to. But I think it's a fun question. What's the mecca of hockey? And Montreal's winning. But I got to tell you, only 4% are voting for New York. New York's got to get some of their just desserts. I'll tell you what, if you have a chance, yeah, you got to go to Montreal, but you definitely got to go to New York too. Because I was sitting around the table just listening. I used to be the guy talking all the time. I'm not anymore. I just sit and listen. I'm old. So I'm sitting there listening to the guys that all have NHL on their blazers, the guys that work, open the penalty box door, drive the Zamboni, those guys, the real guys and gals. And you know what they were talking about in New York? Local minor hockey games. Or did you hear this happen at the game the other day? This kid, blah, 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 blah. They're talking hockey. They're talking hockey. I got to be honest. I love South Florida, but they don't talk hockey here. They talk about the Heat. They talk about college football. They don't talk hockey. New York, they do. That's a hockey town. But it ain't the Mecca. Anyways, you're invited to vote on that poll on YouTube and also on Twitter at Rod Pedersen Show. It's brought to you by Country Thunder. Our daily poll. Get ready for one of the biggest parties of the summer. Country Thunder returns to Craven, Saskatchewan, July 9th to the 12th, featuring Lainey Wilson, Riley Green, and Creed, plus an incredible lineup, including the Dead South, Gavin Adcock, Cameron Whitcomb, and more. Don't miss out. Get your tickets now at countrythunder.com/SK. And trust me, it ain't Football Friday just yet. We are doing a show on Football Friday, and Kevin the Medium will be with us for that. We'll have a lot more football then. And I'm going to get to today's breaking news in the NFL in a second. Kirk Cousins is now a Las Vegas Raider, which frankly, not a lot of people did see that coming, although Mike Davis did call that out about 3 weeks ago on this show from the Vegas Nighthawks. But I just want to walk this back for 1 second on the Linus Ullmark situation, because that's where we opened it, and we said that this was it is the big story. In my world, it's the big story, okay? because hockey is my world. It's what I want my world to be. And it's going great. A lot better than it's going for Linus Ullmark right now. So this beleaguered goaltender for the Ottawa Senators, his mental health struggles have been well publicized and documented, and basically everybody in the NHL is teeing off on the guy right now, and I wouldn't want to be him. And Jason in Red Deer writes in, where is it? A lot of comments have come in since I looked down. He says this sounds like a Robin Lehner situation all over again. Wonder how Lehner is doing. So that's the goalie for the Vegas Golden Knights who was given a second chance by the Vegas Golden Knights, and he flubbed that. We don't know where Robin Lehner is. Last we heard, he filed for bankruptcy after losing all his money investing in an exotic pet store. Look it up. So, again, I want to keep this up. I want to keep it fun. And I think that Mecca of Hockey conversation is a lot more fun than mental health and what's going on with Linus Ullmark. But can I want to say this again? I brought it up yesterday or the day before. But this is where Janice Taylor comes in, who's been on this show twice, and she's going to come back for a third thing. But Janice is needed in this situation. The emotional fitness thing. That's the program that she's not developing. She has developed through Wilson 4Q. So again, I deal with the guy's post-career. I'm the disaster cleanup guy. She's the one trying to prevent the wreck that is Robin Lehner, that is Linus Ullmark. We're seeing this in real time. So she's done 2 interviews and has to come back for a third because it's a really big topic that nobody really pays attention to until it's a crisis. And so when I said yesterday that I'm just so happy how everything's coming all together, Jamie Heward, who is the coach with the Silver Knights in Henderson, his wife Tisha works with Janice with Wilson 4Q. That lined up. Jamie coming on the program in hour 2 today, and Jamie is in the ownership group of Country Thunder. Ta-da! Our newest sponsor of the RP show. So my heart is warm. Okay. And I'll dive into this comments as we go. Tony and Cochrane writing it and says, for sure, Montreal, Forum, Danny Gallivan, the Mecca. Bingo. Montreal's the Mecca. And there was a time Toronto was, but it ain't anymore. Hey, Terry from Calgary writes in. He said, Terry the lawyer, he says, trivia. Randy Johnson's famous foul ball was 25 years ago. I had to stop for a second and think, that's what he hit that bird and it blew into smithereens. That was 25 years ago? Oh, my God. Hang on, I just clicked the wrong button and the comments just disappeared. That ain't good when you're trying to look for comments. John Ohm. Hey, John's not wrong. He says the Mecca of hockey is Winnipeg in the playoffs. Yeah, but you're saying just in the playoffs. We're talking every day, every game. What's the Mecca of hockey? The answer is the Centre Bell. Montreal, ole, ole, ole. I'm so happy for their fans. I really am. They're annoying as hell, but not as bad as Leaf fans. Jenna has checked in from Southern California, says, let's go, Buffalo. I don't think, well, they're all dying to talk about the Kirk Cousins news, and me too, but I will just say I'm kind of thinking I'm going to pick Ottawa to beat the Sabres tonight, because sometimes I saw the grease fire here the other night. There is a little thing called rock bottom. In the recovery world, we say for some people, rock bottom can be a trampoline. You hit the rock bottom and you bounce right back up. That's the way it's supposed to go. I think Ottawa's going to beat the Sabres tonight. Sorry, Jenna. And by the way, just so you know, Joe Lazito writes in from New York. He's watching from Long Island. He says, I hated voting for Toronto in the poll, but did based on the member clubs of the OHL, and definitely not the Leafs. Unfortunately, hockey ranks 4th in New York sports, so I couldn't vote for my home state. Ba 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 ba. My phone's going off like crazy. I hope it's good. I can't look at it right now. I wish people wouldn't text me during the show. 902-518-3033. I knew that we would figure something out without Kevin the Medium here today, but it will be a hell of a lot of football tomorrow. Greg in Calgary writes in. He says, hey, Rod, I agree. It's Montreal. Detroit could be number 3. Hockey town? Let me just drop something for a second and say, if the Red Wings miss the playoffs, Steve Yzerman's going to be fired, right? It pains me to see it or say it, but that's one thing I'm looking for. Kirk writes in. Where's Kirk? He is in the Bridge City. He says, the hockey mecca of the world is Edmonton as long as Connor McDavid is there. Here's the thing, guys. You can't tie a friggin' asterisk to it. You either are or you aren't. Montreal's the mecca every day. Winnipeg is in the playoffs. Well, we're not in the playoffs. Edmonton is as long as McDavid's there. Well, he's there for now. Montreal is every day, and I respect the hell out of that. I would think you do too. These comments are going off. Let me get to the football because I've been teasing it forever. We'll come back on all the rest. Listen up. The Las Vegas Raiders agreed to terms with quarterback Kirk Cousins today, 2 days after new head coach Clint Kubiak said he wanted to add another veteran quarterback to the roster. The 37-year-old Cousins will join a Raiders team that is widely expected to select former Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza with the first overall pick of the NFL draft later this month. But Kubiak and general manager John Spytek, who were among those in attendance Wednesday to scout Mendoza's Indiana Pro Day, have said on multiple occasions that they prefer not to start a young quarterback right away this season. So, put the transmission in park for a second. 2 minutes, that's it? This is going fast. Mike, I meant to turn it into a meme, and it's on me. I didn't send it. Joe makes the memes. I should have made it on my own. But it was Mike Davis 3 weeks ago from the Vegas Nighthawks on this show who said, I hear the Raiders are going to sign Kirk Cousins. I wrote it down, but I didn't send it to Joe to make him. But Mike Davis had the scoop, and he's a football coach. It was also Mike Davis that said, if I was the Raiders, I would be trading the number 1 overall pick for a package of players at other positions and sign a veteran. Now, they've signed the veteran in Kirk Cousins, but I don't think they're trading Mendoza. But if you want to know what football guys sit around and talk about, that. And to be honest, I never even thought about the idea of trading the number 1 overall pick. You know, the rumor's been out there. The rumor was out there that the Raiders were going to trade the number 1 overall pick for Lamar Jackson, but that was never going to happen. But again, that's how the football guys talk. And I think when the draft rolls around, which, by the way, there's news today out of the NFL, they've announced the entertainment lineup for the draft in Pittsburgh coming up in less than a month's time, which includes Wiz Khalifa. It will be the Raiders and John Spytek. Well, Roger Goodell announcing the number 1 overall pick being Fernando Mendoza. Why would you not? But anyways, I'm going to keep you in suspense, i.e. right after this break, I'll tell you what the latest NFL power rankings are from USA Today post-free agency. Now they actually mean something. We got that. We got baseball to get to, a little NBA. I got an inside tip on what the Vegas NBA team name is going to be, and nobody guessed it. We'll be right back. Jamie Heward coming up in hour 2 from the Henderson Silver Knights. It's the RP Show on Game Plus TV.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop, edgier seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Pedersen Developments Limited.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
RP Show continues, and before we delve back into the Quick Six Show topics, I should tell you they're brought to you by our good friend Neil Shark, Uniglobe Carefree Travel, the official RP Show travel partner and the BC Lions official travel partner. And how about those Blue Jays? As they are coming off their first series loss of the season, you can see the Blue Jays in Toronto this summer with Uniglobe Carefree's own Neil Shark. An action-packed weekend in Toronto, August 14th to the 17th, staying right in the heart of the city. The unbeatable package includes round-trip flights from your home, 3 nights hotels downtown Toronto, 2 baseball games featuring Toronto versus New York, plus an exciting pro-Canadian football game, Saskatchewan at Hamilton. It's the perfect weekend, and this is an easy, fun, and stress-free way to experience the best of Canadian sports all in one unforgettable weekend. Connect with Neil at uniglobecarefreetravel.com for those watching on Game Plus right now or YouTube. The numbers are on the screen. By the way, with regards to tonight's hockey games, everybody's all geeked up about tonight, which is great. Rob from Windthorst writes in. He says, I wish I was there to join you for the game tonight. It's been a long time since the Bees are probably favored to win in Sunrise. Oh, I'm sure they're favored to win. But let me just say this, Rob from Windthorst. everybody's favorite that comes into Sunrise, but they always lose. Panthers kicked the Senators' ass the other night. I guess they lost to Minnesota in extra time last week, but Panthers have been doing pretty good at home. It will be fun in the old barn tonight. 902-518-3033 is the text line. Oh, it's full. It's full. With regards to the poll question, what's the Mecca of hockey? Kirk in Toronto writes in. He says, Rod, all original teams are the Mecca, and 3 of those teams are in the Great Lakes region. 4 if you include Buffalo. There can only be one Mecca. I'm sorry. Nice try. But there's only one Mecca. There's only one Taj Mahal, right? There's only one Niagara Falls for you people in southern Ontario. There's only one Mecca. That's why we have a vote. And the people are voting for Montreal. Tony in the Bridge City writes in. He says, good morning, Rod. I hope you're having a great Thursday. Oh, I am. Can't you tell by the smile on my face? He says, congratulations to the great Vic Router as he hangs up the microphone after the gold medal match at the World Curling Championships on Saturday. A phenomenal 40-plus year career. The voice of curling, no doubt. He will be missed. Vic Router. I almost missed the start of the show because I was going through my photos trying to find the photo of me and Vic from the lobby of the Westin Ottawa. I ran into Vic a lot over the years, but it was the only time that I stopped to take a photo of me and him. And here's what I'll say about Vic. We all watch the curling, make the final. I've always wanted to ask him this. I never had the chance. He called Stanley Cup playoff games back in the day for TSN, back when they had them. And I remember a game out of Tampa Bay. I think it was in the old Thunderdome before the current arena was built. And I'm like, oh, damn, is he good? Doing hockey. Vic Router. But I shouldn't be surprised, but you think him as a curling guy. His hockey was on point. Regarding to me not being into the what the hell was the NASA thing yesterday? The Artemis. Why I remembered it was it reminded me of Artemi Panarin of the LA Kings. Artemis. David number 2 from Winnipeg writes in. He says, unless NASA is putting a hockey team on the moon, Rod won't be following the Artemis exploits. But man, what a road trip that would be. I'm not following NASA unless you're putting a hockey team on the moon. No, but thank you, David. You get me. That's rare. I had to remember Artemis because of Artemi Panarin. That's how I remember it. Wayne in BC writes in. Wayne in Victoria, you're on the air. Hello. He says, I'm not a Vegas Raiders fan necessarily, but I'm happy for the Raiders that they got Kirk Cousins as their quarterback. He's not the greatest quarterback in the NFL, but he's better than they had. Well, let's have a little fun with this for a second, because I said I was going to give you, I didn't forget, I was going to give you the power rankings, which, by the way, are worth the Kleenex you blow your nose on. Like, it's not that big a deal, but I pay for the USA Today subscription. I might as well use it, right? From writer Nate Davis, his top 5 in the NFL coming out of free agency. And let's remember, we still have a draft to go, but these are a little more accurate than pre-free agency. Number 1, Seattle. Stands to reason, I would think, even though they lost the Super Bowl MVP running back Kenneth Walker III. Seattle, number 1. Number 2, Denver, which, by the way, wasn't really on anybody's radar in power rankings until they acquired Jalen Waddle, which is a big acquisition from the Dolphins. Seattle 1, Denver 2, LA Rams 3, Chicago Bears 4, Buffalo Bills 5. So there's some new blood in the top 5. And let's remember, this doesn't mean anything, but it's fun to talk about. Now, with the Raiders signing Kirk Cousins today, and then all of the fallout of what's going on here in the Miami area with the Dolphins signing Malik Willis and the sale job that the Dolphins have had to do to convince people to not burn their season tickets. Here's your bottom 5 in the NFL. Courtesy USA Today. Don't blame me. Don't shoot the messenger. Blame them. Number 28 is the Atlanta Falcons, despite them tying a can to Kirk Cousins, bringing in Tua, which they think's going to, they're still the 5th worst team in the NFL, according to USA Today. Number 29 is the Las Vegas Raiders. You saw my mind just went somewhere. Hang on, I'll come back to that. Number 30 is the Arizona Cardinals, which is unfortunate for the great people of the Valley of the Sun. They deserve better, but they should be used to it. The second worst team in the NFL, number 31, is the local Miami Dolphins. Hashtag fins up. And number 32, the New York Jets. The worst team in the NFL, the Gotham Green. And as I was talking to Joe this morning, our Joe, I was like, social media is taking a hell of a lot of fun out of sports for me, which is not good because I make my living in it. But I saw Von Miller posting on his account. What I mean by that is, that's where my mind went. I saw Von Miller posting that he signed with the Vegas Raiders. I'm like, is this April Fool's? Is this real? I don't know what to believe. That's not good. And then I saw the coach of the New York Jets, if this is to be believed, Aaron Glenn, saying that Geno Smith is going to take the New York Jets to the promised land. That's a quote I saw. Again, I'm like, is this April Fool's? Is this AI? Or does he actually believe that? They already tried once with Geno Smith, and it didn't work. But they're going to run it back. That's what made me think of it when Wayne in BC said, well, I don't know about Kirk Cousins, but he's better than the last guy the Raiders had. That's Geno Smith, who's going to save the New York Jets, according to their head coach. I don't know what to believe. 902-518-3033. I don't even know where the Dallas Cowboys fit in those power rankings and frankly don't care. I see you all are talking about UFL. Can you wait a day? It's cool. I get it. You're football fans, but it's not Football Friday. Tomorrow, Kevin the Medium will be with us, and we'll be talking UFL. Jeremy in Winnipeg says, let's keep sleeping on the Chiefs. Jeremy, don't be that guy. Who cares that they're in the power rankings or they're not? I'm sitting here, I'll just say it, I guess, as the Florida Panthers guy. We got people writing in here, trolling me, trolling the Panthers, that the reign is over. And I'm sure there are people here in South Florida getting upset at that talk. I'm like, what? Like you just said, sure, keep it coming. Keep it. If you actually think that the good days are over for the Florida Panthers, then you haven't been paying attention or you got a big surprise coming. Maybe that's what you're saying, Jeremy. I'm actually agreeing with you. Keep it coming. It's the fans that get outright upset if their team, you disrespected us. And the coaches too, that we're not in the power rankings. Who cares? It's March. I'm talking about the NFL. That's what I'm saying, Eric in Vancouver. He goes, Geno Smith, promised land? I know, they're either on to something or they're on something, and I think it's the latter. We got a sports update coming up. More viewer takeover. We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV and WQVZ.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. I found it. Told you I was looking for it. Vic Router announcing his retirement. There he is. Make the final. Our U.S. viewers will not know, so I'm showing you who he is. The iconic Canadian curling announcer from TSN. Make the final. Vic Router is a first-class guy. Had the chance to spend a lot of time around him, interview him on multiple occasions. Vic Router hanging up the microphone. What a career. Okay. 902-518-3033. That's the text line for Western Dodge. Are you ready for a new ride? Head to Western Dodge where the deals are real and the service is legendary. David, number 2 from Winnipeg, says the great thing about the NFL is NFL news is news any day of the year. They really do a great job of keeping themselves in the headlines, don't they? Rick in Martinsville writes in on the Western Dodge text line. He says, the Habs are winning, so yep, Montreal is the Mecca now. And yeah, they are annoying. That's the one thing, though, that I will say about Hab fans. I've said it a million times. I'll say it again. They're annoying, but at least they just love their own team. They don't sit and trash other teams, and not my friends that are Habs fans. Beep, 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 beep. Why are we talking about that? The poll question today for Country Thunder is, what's the hockey mecca? What's the mecca of hockey? Montreal, Toronto, New York, or other. And I didn't come up with it. The Twitter account, NHL94.com, did. So I just stole it. I'm giving them credit. Montreal's running away with it. And maybe it's because the Leafs are a disaster right now. I don't know. I get what Rick is saying from Martinsville. The Habs are hot right now. The Leafs are not. If it was flipped, would Toronto be voted the Mecca? Maybe. But as of today, that's what they're saying. I promised a sports up. I even got to hardly any of my stuff here. We're through 2 points. The NHL last night, the Linus Ullmark Grease Fire, the Kachuk podcast, which I'm not done talking about that yet, the Wingmen podcast, and Kirk Cousins signing with the Raiders. And we talked about Country Thunder. We talked about how you could watch the Blue Jays in Toronto this summer with Neil Chark, Uniglobe Carefree Travel. The number's on the screen. I should mention this. The Toronto Blue Jays are heading out on the road after a season-opening 4-2 homestand. Toronto dropped the 2-1 decision to Colorado on Wednesday in the finale of a 3-game series. The Blue Jays swept the Athletics to open the campaign. Toronto's next game is Friday afternoon against the Chicago White Sox. They were supposed to visit Chicago today, but inclement weather poo-pooed that. Just on the Kachuk podcast, there are obviously so many podcasts. The fad has lasted far longer than I thought that it would for a variety of reasons. I mean, a lot of you know RodPedersen.com sports blog just celebrated 20 years, and I thought that blog fad, which it was a fad, it only lasted a few years. I thought the podcast craze would be the same, but it hasn't really gone away like blogs have. And so everybody's got one, is the point. And there's a lot of really, really good ones, and there's a lot of really, really bad ones. And I don't really, it's ironic to say this, but I don't really listen to a lot of podcasts. Part of the reason is so many people saying, did you check out this podcast? Did you hear them say this on this podcast? I'm like, I don't have time. I literally do not have the time. I don't. But living here in South Florida, the Kachuk podcast is obviously up in my face all the time. And it doesn't look like it's really owned by anybody other than the Kachuk family, Brady and Matthew and their dad. And they got going yesterday about the softness of the players. And I want to go down this road of what annoys me because we try to keep this show positive. But people, they've been pulling clips from the show going, oh, they're talking about soft players. They're talking about the Panthers and the guy's got a sore pinky. He's not playing. I'm like, who are you specifically talking about? Because I saw Evan Rodriguez walking out of the rink the other day with a broken finger and his fingers in a splint. He was pissed off because he knew his season was over. They're not faking. But that was some fans, media. I don't know. I feel like I got to stop following fans because the other night, I don't mind saying this, I said to Randy Moeller now I got some time. I'll tell you a few more stories. I'm sitting with Randy Moeller. In between periods, he always comes and sits with me. Former Panther player turned broadcaster. And I said, what do you think of Moles about the people saying that the Panthers are tanking? He goes, it's just fans. You're right. I try to listen to the fans, but when it gets stupid, you just can't. The implication or he's inferring, the inference is that nobody that knows what's going on is accusing the Florida Panthers of tanking. They have 12 regulars not playing. On Sunday, I'm sitting in Madison Square Garden in New York watching on the screen. They got not playing tonight for the Florida Panthers. It's like 8 guys. I'm like, I don't see Marchand's name on there. Is Marchand playing? Page 2. They flip. Oh, he's on page 2. That's how many injuries the Florida Panthers. They're not tanking. And if you watch them play, and the goal that Kachuk scored in New York on Saturday at the Islanders, they're the guys that are playing their balls off. Period. It's just a lot of the stars aren't playing, so they're not deliberately tanking. Is the point? But anyways, back to that podcast. I'm not going to name any names. I just heard, and I'm not shocked, that there's people in high-ranking places that aren't pleased about this podcast. Would that shock you? I actually saw somebody say when they were referring to Linus Ullmark, because I don't know if they were or not, but somebody said, this godforsaken podcast. Somebody put that on social media. With me, for those that don't know, when I started RodPedersen.com and all the digital stuff that I did, it was a major pain in the ass for my bosses and the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Regina Pats, because we came into the digital age together, and they're like, oh, Rod's running all these digital assets and they're crushing it and we can't control it. And what if he says something that makes us look bad? It became a major thing. A major thing. And nothing's changed. Here's the Kachucks now, and everybody's just like, what are they going to say? Well, so Utah Darren writes in and says, not only too much coverage. Okay, back that up. Vancouver Eric writes in and he says, it's almost too much coverage these days, RP. And Utah Darren piggybacks on that and says, not only too much coverage, but too much coverage by people who are clueless. And I guess it doesn't take that long, I don't think, to build some credibility, but you should at least try. Because I was saying the other day, I was worried that the Panthers were going to be mad at me because I pulled a clip of Paul Maurice saying this was a good mental health win for the Panthers when they beat Ottawa. A bunch of people in Ottawa took it as that he was trolling the Senators. I'm like, I didn't mean that. Darn sure Paul Maurice didn't mean it. We're not thinking about the Senators. Didn't even hear from the Panthers. They get it. I'm not trying to start anything. Stupid. BW writes in and says, I listen to this podcast because it covers other sports podcasts and other sports. I do that with news and politics as well. That's what I get the most, frankly, is I get that the most. Like, I like your show because you talk about everything. And today I think we've covered everything. I haven't quite got to the NBA yet. Might as well, huh? Point 4, the Toronto Raptors are down to 7th place in the NBA's Eastern Conference. DeMar DeRozan and Precious Achiuwa each scored 28 points apiece against their former team in Sacramento's 123-115 win over Toronto. A top 6 finish in the standings is required to avoid the play-in round. So since we got a few minutes left in hour one, and my word, does it go fast when it's just me. I have written down here, RHI, in terms of notes. If you want to talk about roller hockey, I'm into it. I'm rolling in a world that's pretty damn cool. Okay. And you'll be hearing more and more about it. But in terms of expansion cities is my point, and sports ownership and team names and all the fun stuff. I had a thing forwarded me the other day. This isn't too deep intel, but Las Vegas has not been awarded a franchise in the expansion yet. But apparently there's groups trying to pull together investors for when they do. And the package that I saw, the name of the Las Vegas NBA team was the Jacks. The Las Vegas Jacks. And I'm like, oh. That is a hell of a lot of fun to sit around and talk about expansion teams and where, and obviously we're doing it now with roller hockey, bringing back RHI, which I'll say again for those that weren't watching. I'm part of a group bringing back Roller Hockey International. It'll be RHI 2.0, and I was a little worried about talking about it, but the people are the original owners from 30 years ago. The guys and gals were like, we own it. We have the trademarks. Nobody can steal it. So go ahead. And so as we talk about various cities and expansion and leagues and stuff, this is the one thing that crossed my desk was the Las Vegas Jacks. And I'm like, I guess that is a play on blackjacks, obviously. I said I didn't think that the NBA would be okay with a gambling connotation. Is the Jacks? Might not be. Who said anything about blackjacks? That would be what somebody would say to defend it. So, yeah, there's a lot of fun things going on. Jamie Heward joining us from the Henderson Silver Knights. When we come back, we're broadcasting on Game Plus TV.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea. But But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Oh, I gotta say, how about that? You're right, Rick Regan. Welcome to the RP Show as we welcome viewers across Nevada on Silver State Sports and Entertainment. And hello again to the Canadian viewers, plus 33 states that are tuned in on Game Plus TV. We're getting to the bottom of it today with a lot of fun and great topics. By the way, Jamie Heward is our guest. I should mention he's coming up a little later on in the program today. Jamie Heward, so he's the assistant coach of the Henderson Silver Knights of the American Hockey League, Henderson, Nevada. A very long-time friend of mine. We've been friends since teenage years. And the appearance is brought to you by Prairie Panels. Prairie Panels is a Saskatchewan-based company specializing in high-quality construction panels and engineered building solutions. Check them out at prairiepanels.ca. So let's get down to business. Point one of the Quick Six show topics is a very busy night of the National Hockey League, 14 games. And I'm going to say, with all due apologies to the Fortress in Las Vegas, where the Golden Knights are home to the Calgary Flames tonight, looking to go to 2-0 under Torts, Vegas. The marquee game is in the nation's capital, where the Ottawa Senators are home to the Buffalo Sabres, and the fallout has been immense. So anybody who's watching on YouTube, you'll see that the thumbnail that we put up on YouTube, and also with our television partners, had the words, Walt sounds off. Walt is the nickname of Keith Tkachuk, the father of Brady Tkachuk of the Ottawa Senators and Matthew Tkachuk of the Florida Panthers, and they do this podcast called Wingmen. And I don't know, we're going to get to the breaking news. I mean, there's very big news out of Las Vegas. Kirk Cousins is signing with the Las Vegas Raiders. We'll come back to that. Thank you, AB, for the reminder. But on the latest edition of the Wingmen podcast, which I've said it before. I've just heard some people in high-ranking places aren't too pleased that the Kachucks have a podcast. That's all I was, and I've lived it. I've been there. I get it. I saw it coming. So they sat there, the Kachuk boys and their dad, just talking hockey, and I get it. I mean, it's like maybe have that conversation, but don't put a camera on it. I don't know. And Keith Kachuk was talking about soft players and kind of alluded, I guess, to Linus Ullmark, Ottawa's goalie, not playing last Saturday night because he needed a rest. That's what his coach said. And then I saw him come here Tuesday night and get shelled in the first period, 5 goals pulled. Linus Ullmark is in a hole right now that I don't know that he can get out of. And here's poor Brady, the teammate of Linus Ullmark. I said last hour, I'll say it now for the benefit of those that weren't watching. This is very similar to Brady Tkachuk being in the dressing room at the Olympics after the USA just won the gold medal, and Donald Trump made his comments about the U.S. women's team, and Brady's sitting there laughing uncomfortably. Kind of like a Beavis and Butthead situation, and that's what happened in this podcast. Here's Keith Tkachuk ripping soft players. It somehow alluded to the Ottawa goalie, and all of a sudden, it's not just me that's drawing this line. I'm seeing all the media saying this, that this is wrecking the Ottawa Senators. But and then my dear friend, Claire Hanna, she's the television host of the Senators broadcast. She said that the media wanted to talk to Brady Tkachuk and Linus Ullmark this morning ahead of the game. They weren't made available by the hockey team. So beyond all of that, there's a game to play tonight. Ottawa home to Buffalo. I'm going to pick Ottawa right now. We'll do the full picks later for Pump Jacks Cathedral, Pump Jacks Weyburn. Come early and stay late at the place where friends meet. Because I feel like rock bottom was probably here in Sunrise the other night. And I don't even know if Ullmark's going to play. I'm sure they've named the starter. I haven't seen it. But for those of us in the recovery world, rock bottom can be a really bad thing or it can be a really good thing. That's going to be up to guys like Linus Ullmark and Tiger Woods and Puka Nacua. Let's hope where you're at is the worst point. Because some people use the rock bottom as a trampoline and bounce right back up and never look back. And I'll say this one more time. It makes me really happy to say this. The connection, Jamie Heward coming up next from the Henderson Silver Knights. His wife, Tisha, works with Janice Taylor from Wilson 4Q, where they work with emotional fitness for athletes. And I'll say it again, this is where Janice's services would come in real handy. Okay, what I do is mental health recovery. Look it up. The definition is to restore to its original state. Let's get them back to where they were. What's happening with Linus Ullmark, this is real-time truck semi hitting the ditch. We're seeing it in real time. It's horrible. And with Janice's company, she's trying to help athletes prevent that from happening. And that's what's happening with Linus Ullmark. So anyway, that is the big story. And this was going on long before the Wingmen podcast and what Keith Tkachuk and them said. But I will say is it's a very, very, very ugly situation. That's all. And I feel bad for all those involved. I really do. Now, a little more fun thing. Okay. Is the poll question today, which I stole. I didn't come up with it. I was just surfing Twitter this morning, and amongst the crap that I saw, that one thing really stood out, which was fun. And it was from a Twitter account called NHL94.com. NHL 94, the greatest video game ever played or made. I believe Jamie Heward was in that video game. If he was logged in, I'm not sure. But they had a poll on there and said, what's the mecca of hockey? What right now is the mecca of hockey? And they got the 3 right ones. It was Toronto, Montreal, New York, or other. And the last I looked, I haven't looked for a while, but 65% said Montreal, and they got my vote. Centre Rebelle, it's the place you got to go. Toronto was next with only 8%. New York, what was it? They were like 20% or something. But anyway, Montreal's running away with it. 8% voted for other, what's other besides those 3? There is no other mecca of hockey. There isn't. I laugh at Utah. Darren Wright said, he's like, no votes for Salt Lake City? Not yet, bro. And New York's actually trailing in the poll with only 4% of the vote, which surprised me because I was just there on the weekend, and that is a hockey town. Chicago's a hockey town. Detroit's a hockey town. And New York's up there, but Montreal's winning the poll. And then the other thing where I said this is all pulling together, and I love it. Country Thunder is the newest sponsor of the RP show. I love it. Get ready for one of the biggest parties of the summer. Country Thunder returns to Craven, Saskatchewan, July 9th to the 12th, featuring Lainey Wilson, Riley Green, and Creed, plus an incredible lineup, including the Dead South, Gavin Adcock, Cameron Whitcomb, and more. Don't miss out. Get your tickets now at countrythunder.com/SK. And yeah, you all think that we're marketing to the Canadians that are watching. We are. But Neil Chark, Uniglobe Carefree Travel in Vancouver, they're like, let's get the Americans up here. Let's not forget 40% off everything you buy. So yeah, you want to get out of Nevada for the hot Nevada summer? Come on up to Craven. We'll take care of you. Vancouver Eric writes in and he says, NHL 94? Yes, RP. Oh, yes. That's the video game where slap shots would break the glass. Remember that? And we'd have to stop and get the glass replaced in a video game. Or there would be fights and there would be guys laying on the ice bleeding. The ambulance would come out. That actually happened, kids, in a land before time. That's why I say I'm pretty sure Jamie Heward was in that video game. Mike Sillinger, too. There are some residual. Oh, hang on. Jason in Red Deer writes in. He says, will the RP show be streaming live from Country Thunder on the Friday? That's the plan. That's the thing. When this deal came together and was announced, they were like, oh, I'd consider doing some shows from Craven. I think I would. I've just considered it. Yes, let's do it. The last time I broadcast live from Main Street Craven, it was another time. Speaking of, that was a lot of fun, too. You never know what's going to happen at Craven. I'll tell you that for free. Nobody had more fun at Craven than me for a period of 25 years. Nobody. I remember one time walking into Fort Whoop Up, and there was a line of people with lawn chairs waiting to get into the grandstand. I'm like, maybe I'll get to the grandstand this weekend. Never did. Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says, I always remember Trevor Linden putting a guy through the glass in the old Pacific Coliseum. Oh, I thought you meant the video game. He actually did it. I got you. Jason writes in and says, Tkachuk talking about soft players. How ironic. If any of those soft players dropped the gloves, Tkachuk would have had his head so far into his shell. Matthew wasn't talking about it. Keith was talking about it. Matthew had actually, from the clip that I saw, had very little to say in that. It was Keith. And I would invite you to go say that to Keith Tkachuk and see how long you last. It would be a 2-hit fight. Him hitting you, you hitting the ground. Brent in Wellington, Florida writes in and he says, hat, buckle, and boots, Rod? No. I don't play cowboy. I don't dress up. I'll leave that to the real cowboys. Hank writes in. Where is Hank? Hank the Hammer. He is writing in from the Queen City. He says, the absolute mecca of hockey is Montreal. Signed, Hank the Hammer. I agree. Ole, 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 ole. Can we get it back on the road here? Point 2 of the Quick Six show topics. The Las Vegas Raiders agreed to terms with Kirk Cousins today, 2 days after new head coach Clint Kubiak said he wanted to add another veteran quarterback to the roster. The 37-year-old Cousins will join a Raiders team. It's widely expected to select former Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza with the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft later this month. But Kubiak and general manager John Spytek, who were among those in attendance Wednesday to scout Mendoza at Indiana's Pro Day, have said on multiple occasions that they prefer not to start a young quarterback right away this season. So pause for a sec. The viewers, I got to go back to the last hour viewers, but some were saying Tom Brady clearly knows what he's doing. We all knew that Tom did. It was not an if Tom Brady would turn this team around, the Las Vegas Raiders. It's a matter of when. And I want to give a shout out to Mike Davis from the Vegas Nighthawks, who 2 or 3 weeks ago, I have it in my notes because I wrote it down, said, I hear the Raiders are going to go after Kirk Cousins. 3 weeks ago on this show. Today, it happened. Mike Davis broke the news on this show, and I was negligent. in turning that into a meme. I meant to do it and I didn't. I don't know where my head was that day. But somebody wrote in here earlier and said, oh, is Mendoza not ready? I think it was that same Jason. And I'm like, they just said they don't want to start a rookie. Look what happened to J.J. McCarthy. They got snapped in half in Minnesota. If you don't have to play him, why would you? Like, Mendoza is ready. Did you see the film from his pro day? That I did see. I'm not watching this friggin' NASA. The guy wrote in here yesterday and said, Rod, are you following Artemis Panarin? Artemi Panarin? No, I'm not following NASA. I'm following what Fernando Mendoza's doing at his pro day in Indiana. And the guy's he's a man. Okay? But if you don't have to play him in year one, why would you play him in year one? So that's the whole idea. 902-518-3033. I'll say that again. Like, I enjoy talking to the fans. With the viewers, I think you people that watch this show, you're another few steps above the average fan. You're all pretty intelligent. That's why you're watching this show. But I really enjoy talking to the actual coaches and GMs, like Mike Davis, the guy that broke the news on the Kirk Cousins thing. Breaking rumor, as they say in today's business. He said, I would be trading the number 1 overall pick for a package of players because they need help everywhere. Aside from Max Crosby, can you name one starting player on the Vegas Raiders defense? I'll wait. And sign a veteran. Well, they signed the veteran in Kirk Cousins, but I don't think they're going to trade the number 1 overall pick. I mean, they might. The rumor was that they were going to trade it to Baltimore, but that hasn't happened, and I can't see that happening. Oh, my God. This is the one thing this is the lone soccer comment you'll get on this program. Kirk writes in, he's watching in Toronto. He says, resale tickets at center field between Canada and Bosnia-Herzegovina at BMO Field will set you back a mere $130,766. Spend your money however you want. Trust me, we don't judge here. But my mom's words just echoed in my head. There's another guy with more money than brains. But I guess if you got $130,000 to blow on a soccer game, go nuts. Brent in Wellington, Florida writes in, he says, bringing in a guy like Cousins to mentor a kid like Mendoza is the right move in my eyes. Absolutely. And that was the discussion we had a few weeks ago here, that you can see Kirk Cousins being a backup. He's that type of guy. He'll take a back seat. I didn't see financial terms of this. I'm sure they're out there. But none of us can see Aaron Rodgers taking a back seat. How about that? What does that say about Aaron Rodgers? By the way, we're brought to you in part by Uniglobe, Carefree Travel out of Vancouver, the official travel partner of the RP Show, and the BC Lions. Calling all Canadian sports fans, join Uniglobe Carefree's own Neil Chark for an action-packed weekend in Toronto, August 14th to the 17th. 2 baseball games, Toronto versus New York, plus a Canadian pro football game, Saskatchewan and Hamilton on the Sunday. It's an easy, fun, and stress-free way to experience the best of Canadian sports all in one unforgettable weekend. Connect with Neil at uniglobecarefreetravel.com. When we come back, our good friend Jamie Heward from the Henderson Silver Knights will join us for a good old hockey chat. NHL alum and assistant coach in Henderson of the American Hockey League. We'll be right back. You're watching the RP Show across Canada and 33 states on Game Plus Television, and, of course, across Nevada on Silver State Sports.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Welcome back to the RP Show, brought to you in part by Vegas.com here on Silver State Sports. Explore this week's most popular picks or jump straight to 3-star, 4-star, or 5-star options to match your style and budget. Whether you're planning a weekend escape or a luxury stay, your ideal Vegas hotel is just a click away. Okay, the man needs no introduction, but we'll introduce him anyways. Jamie Heward, first-round pick of the Pittsburgh Penguins back in 1989, played 394 games with the Leafs, the Predators, the Islanders, the Blue Jackets, the Capitals, the Kings, and the Lightning. Regina Pat's royalty, close friend of mine, and assistant coach of the Henderson Silver Knights. Have I got it all, Huey?
I think you did good, Roddy. That's pretty good, buddy.
Hey, where do we find you today? And thanks for joining us, by the way. Where are you guys at?
We're at home, so we're just getting ready to go for practice. So just thought I'd pop on and get in touch with you again. I haven't talked to you for a while, so I appreciate you having me on, buddy. This is awesome.
It has been a while, and hey, listen, I could go on for hours. We only got 20 minutes. I told you that, but I guess more than anything, I'm sitting here looking at the Henderson Silver Knights. We follow it pretty closely, as you know, and we're airing in Nevada. 33 wins for you guys, but 6th in that Pacific Division. You guys are in a tough division.
Yes. A little bit of a slow start, and that's, we've had to kind of claw our way back. The problem obviously with the American Hockey League, it's not a problem, but, you lose players at certain times. And if the big club gets banged up and, you lose a top scorer or a top defenseman or a top goalie, it's tough to win in this league. So we had a really good March. We had a 10-win month, which is hard to do in the American Hockey League. So yeah, we're right back scratching our way, hopefully moving up, and then 8 games left and see if we can make a run.
Well, I should back this up too. I talk about Huey's playing career, but 5 seasons with the Swift Current Broncos, which included a league title, a couple seasons with the Vancouver Giants, and now you've been in Henderson for a while. You're day one guy there, am I right, Huey?
Day one, yeah. Came during the COVID, the shortened year or whatever they want to call it, and this will be my 6th year.
Okay, so how has pro hockey grown? You had the Golden Knights there a little bit before that, but what's it from your perspective? What's it been like for the Silver Knights through this run of 6 seasons?
It's been good. I mean, we started playing at the Orleans. Again, 1 year during the pandemic, and then the next year they were only allowing fans for so many games, and so it took a little bit of time for us to kind of catch on. Obviously, people were in tune with what was going on with the Golden Knights, so we were kind of at a disadvantage right from the start. But built us a brand new state-of-the-art facility, one of the nicest rinks I think I've ever been in pro hockey. There's obviously better NHL rinks, but for the size and what they've done is incredible. Our situation here is amazing. Our practice facility and our game rink are better than most of the NHL buildings I played in back in the 90s. So we've got a really good situation here, and we've got loyal fans. We've got fans that are obviously dedicated to us, and reasons. Hey, they want to see the stars of the future, right? They want to relate to the young kid that's playing for us, that when he goes up to the Golden Knights, they can say they watched him and know what he's about. So, that's part of our group of fans that come out to watch. And, there's a lot going on in Vegas. Let's be honest. There's sports, there's entertainment, there's a lot going on. So people have, a lot of things to do. I think we do very well for the amount of stuff that's going on in Vegas, fan wise. And, we've had a successful fan base for a while here.
Well, that's what, hey, when I said 6th place in the Pacific, you got a great record. So I'm like, that must be a tough division with you guys winning percentage. But let me ask you this. I know that it's a lot of local season ticket holder base with the Golden Knights. Bill Foley told me that was the goal. But for you guys, but there's a lot of tourists that go through there too. Are you guys like Henderson's team? Is that who's filling your rink, or is it all across the valley?
I would say it's predominantly Henderson's team. I think we get a fan base. At the end of the day, if you hop on the expressway, you can be anywhere in 20 to 25 minutes from the strip down to us. So we've got a pretty good base out here. This area is growing quite a bit, and I think that's kind of where our people are coming from. I know that when we were at Orleans, we drew from the opposite side of the city, so kind of the north part of the city. And I think, potentially people still are coming from there, but it's a little ways to go. So we predominantly are, yes, Henderson's team.
I got to ask you about that Pacific Division, though. I don't know if you're a Spit and Chicklets fan. I don't listen a lot, but I know those guys I know those guys, they're great guys, but they said that Pacific Division is the best division in hockey for road trips. Can you talk about that a little? I mean, I was down in went to a game in Palm Springs in November. I'm like, this rink is amazing. The Coachella Firebird, that's fun down there, man.
I think anytime you could have said you were going to play in a California division in the American Hockey League, I think you would have been pretty happy to sign that contract back in the day. Back when I played, we had the Canadian division, right? We had Moncton, we had St. John, we had St. John's, we had Fredericton. Now you've got Coachella, San Jose, Ontario, which is, 30 minutes outside of LA. You've got all these great teams. You got Colorado. It really is an amazing division. And I think that's why it is so competitive, is that teams are having no problem signing, 2 or 3 really good veteran guys to fill their rosters and help with the younger. So, an agent or a GM comes to you and says, listen, we'd like to sign you to a contract in Coachella Valley, or, somewhere out east where it's freezing cold. I think you're going to take that Coachella Valley pretty quick. But our travel and everything is really good. We're half bus, half flight kind of situation. And obviously, teams aren't unhappy to come to Vegas. That's for sure.
Jamie Heward with us from the Henderson Silver Knights. Well, I'll ask you this. I'll move on to some other things, but Glenn Gulletson, great friend of mine, used to coach the Las Vegas Wranglers with Dallas Stars now, and he said we need to recruit a special kind of player here because every night is Saturday night. And you know what he's talking about, right? So that's still a thing?
Yeah, I mean it's an exciting place to play, and I think there's a little bit of the enthusiasm where the guys come into town, and there's a lot to do, and the one thing that kind of, I don't know if it saves part of what you're trying to do outside is it gets dark here in the winter at about 4:30. So really, when by the time the guys leave the rink, it's just time to go and unwind, and there's great places to live. The weather is good. So, the going out for dinners and that kind of thing and having other things to do to distract you from certain situations is good. But it can, you got to be careful because it can also get you into trouble, right? Vegas is you can get in as much trouble as you want or as little trouble as you want. So yeah, you've definitely got to have the right personality and the right guys signed here, the good veteran presence to make sure that it doesn't become a runaway. That's for sure.
Well, the great thing is, Huey, about you and me is we never partook in any of that, but we saw guys doing it. So we don't, we could help mentor the young guys, right?
That's right. That would be our role for sure.
Of all those places, I'm sure you get asked this a lot, and if you don't, here's the first. But of all those places I mentioned, I said NHL cities, but you also played in Cleveland, St. John's, Syracuse. What was your favorite city to play in as a home city?
As a home city, well, you know what, playing in Toronto was special. Obviously, you got to play in Maple Leaf Gardens. That's the rink you go to all the time. We never had a practice facility that we went to very often. And, just the history and being part of a Canadian Original Six, that's as good as it gets, right? So, I think the Nashville was really good. Columbus was really good only because they were starter cities, right? They never had a team before, and we were new, so we were kind of the explorers of the city. Where do you live? What restaurants do you go to? All those kinds of things. So it made it really interesting to be a part of those cities and to kind of see how the fans react to a new sport coming into town, which was really cool. But I would have to say all the cities were great, but Toronto was, growing up as a kid, you're watching Hockey Night Canada, you saw that rink, you saw the greatness of people that played in it. So for me, that was probably the best city.
I got to go back and check your Hockey DB here, but your first NHL goal was with the Leafs.
Yes.
I remember it. Who'd you score it on?
Mike Vernon.
Ooh, Maple Leaf Gardens?
Yeah. And I think he still has there's something wrong with his shoulder because it went over top of his shoulder. I still think he's got problems with his shoulder right now. It went by him so fast.
Well, Huey, you did have the cannon. That was long before these graphite sticks. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. I do remember that very well. Well, by the way, this is actually not a bad little segue. We've got our brand new sponsor on the RP show. It's Country Thunder coming to Craven July 9th to the 12th. And before we talk about that, the poll question today is, what is the Mecca of hockey? I'm not sure there's a wrong answer, but the options are Montreal, Toronto, New York, or other. What would you vote for in the poll for Country Thunder?
I would say Montreal is probably. They're all. You know what? You could probably say any Original Six team has, has a potential tie to be the Mecca. But Montreal, just the history and the city itself and everything. When you go there on the road, it's special. And I think that's probably why people would say it is the Mecca, is because when you go there, it's iconic, right? It's just incredible how good it is. So I would say Montreal.
That's what's leading the poll, but there are others that actually said any Original Six teams. So I get they're all great. We're comparing great things. Right? I was just in New York on the weekend. MSG is amazing. Now some fun stuff here. Vintage Sasko writes in. Huey, you're gonna love this. He says, if you receive booking power for Country Thunder and get to pick any two acts to headline the weekend, who are you picking? I won't put that to you, Huey, but who are your favorite? I mean, maybe we should tell people your involvement with Country Thunder, why we would bring this up.
Well, I was one of the original investors with Troy Volhofer back in 2005. It was rocking the valley at one point, and we were close enough that he had just said that he would like to bring Country back to Saskatchewan and get Craven back to where it was when we were growing up, when he was growing up. I just became one of the investors, and I put a lot of time out working out there. I do work on the, leading up to the show and work on the weekend out there. It's got a little, my dad worked for Troy for years in the staging department. And so, there's a little bit of a family history out there with, him slinging steel and then me going out there. And so it's been a great, great thing for me to, for somebody that likes to go to Craven when I was a kid. Well, not a kid, but a mid-teenager.
You're still a kid. You're still a kid.
I'm still a kid. I get out there and I'm still a kid. I agree. But so that's my tie to Country Thunder. The acts, I mean, I'm a George Strait guy, right? I mean, George Strait is, in my mind, is the best country singer of all time as far as, the male side goes. And the one cool thing is we're switching to a little bit of rock. We've had Nickelback out there, we had Def Leppard, and this year we've got Creed. So I would say George would be up there. And if I could have anything and spend any kind of money and not have to worry about it, and they're not on tour, obviously Metallica, you could get an Iron Maiden, get some old 80s hair bands out there, and a lot of those bands are still circulating. I know Motley Crue's doing a residency down here in Vegas, and so to kind of get maybe a band like that would bring, keep me youthful, would bring back some good memories of bad stuff we used to do in Regina.
I don't know any of what you're talking about, but I'm glad that you brought up the King of Country. It was 2010, and I'll be honest, your people called me and said, come out and meet George Strait. I'm like, what? They're like, we know he's your guy. I just told this story the other day. I'm like, I didn't even ask. And it was the greatest day of my life. So I'm glad that you said that was the best show, because I thought it was the best show. I got to sit right on the stage. But you're sitting, Vegas is the entertainment capital of the world. That or LA. You've played in both. But is it Vegas or is it LA?
Well, I think Vegas is a little more accessible. I think LA is probably a little more spread out. I mean, obviously, in Vegas, you go down to the Strip and you can walk into 10 or 15 different hotels, and there's a venue in every hotel that can hold, any band that wants to come in, whether you want to play for 2,500 or you want to play for, 70,000 at Allegiant Stadium. It's up to you. So you do get a lot of stuff that comes through. You just have to look on the website or whatever, and you go, hey, that guy's playing, this venue, or, the summer's starting to come up. So you see a lot of country acts coming in, and playing pool parties and that kind of thing. So there is no shortage of stuff to do. And people will travel here from other places to see their favorite acts. Why wouldn't you? If he's playing on a Saturday night or she's playing on a Saturday night, you fly in on a Thursday and you fly out on a Sunday and you make a weekend of it. And so a lot of people travel to do that. And that's what keeps the lights on 24 hours a day in Vegas.
But you're living in the entertainment mecca. What's the last show you can't go every night? What's the last show you went to?
Last show I went to. I went to, I want to say, the Red Hot Chili Peppers at Allegiant Stadium.
Nice.
It was a while ago, but that was something else. It's pretty good. Don't get a lot of time. I mean, a lot of times on our weekends we're busy or whatever, and then by the time the summer stuff rolls around, I'm usually back in Regina. So tough to get to do stuff. But you know what? The cool part, you can go down to Fremont Street and you can, there's 5 or 6 bands that are playing every night, or there's always something going on with a good cover band. There's lots of things you can do. Live music You know, there's tons of live music here. It kind of rivals, you know, Nashville in that kind of way, where you've got singers and guys that are trying to cut their teeth in every venue. So yeah, it's a pretty cool place to be a part of.
All right. Well, we're going to let you go in about 2 minutes, but I will say this. I mentioned Regina Pat's royalty. I don't say that lightly. It's a small club, but you're in it. And I texted Kevin Gallant the other day. I said, please tell me you have a poster of the pup line. He didn't. Huey, you must have a pup line. No. Do you have one?
I do.
I would hope so. There's not a lot of those around anymore.
No,
where is it?
No. It's at the lake. It was my grandmother's, and it's still in her bedroom. That she's passed now, but it's still in her bedroom, still sitting up there. And we were kind of joking the other day about, you know, marketing and stuff like that. And I said, guys, you want to talk about marketing, I got a story for you. When we were in junior, and how every night there was something going on, and they turned these 3 16-year-old kids into the pup line. And it's an amazing story. Kevin Gallant, whether you know him or don't know him, he was at that point was a marketing genius for some of the stuff he did, for sure.
Still is Kevin Gallant, but Mike Sullinger, Jamie Heward, and Frank Kovacs, who will remind you he's the career leader in games played, and that ain't of the Regina Pats, and that ain't ever going away. All right, Huey, this has been awesome, man. Good luck with the Silver Knights. We're following it. Keep rocking it.
All right. Hey, appreciate you, man. You're looking good, buddy. Stay with it, and we'll talk soon.
Feeling good. That's two of us. Thanks, Huey. Jamie Heward joining us from the Henderson Silver Knights as they get ready to head onto the ice for practice. Give them a follow at theahl.com and see what they're doing. We'll be coming right back with a sports update and viewer takeover the rest of the way. It is the RP Show. And you're catching us on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network across Nevada and Game Plus TV.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody, as the RP show continues. I'll get to that sports update in a second, but just some comments from the Jamie Heward interview. Thank you, Glenn, in Medicine Hat, for following along and enjoying it. He writes in, he says, Jamie's interaction with Vancouver Giants forward Jaden Joseph in Kelowna was hilarious. Joseph convinced the coach to let him play D on the power play and then went out and scored. Huey would tell you that was his idea. I'm pretty sure. I said to his wife, Tisha, last night, I said, is your husband ever serious? She's like, not ever. He's a good one, Jamie. I thank you to the Henderson Silver Knights and that whole sports conglomerate there for making Jamie available. And thank you to him for the time. Yeah, I'm still battling the cold. It's me. Playing hurt here today, but I'll survive. Talking about distractions playing in Vegas, Darren writes in, he's watching in Melfort. He says, probably a good thing I didn't have millions of dollars in a contract in LA with the Lakers back in the day. Might have found some problems too. Oh, he says, I just watched Lamar Odom Netflix show. Wow, what a mess. Just another name of a great athlete going the wrong way. Well, speaking of that, in the sports update, the National Football League announced today the headlining acts for the free NFL Draft Entertainment Series presented by Bud Light in Pittsburgh, featuring award-winning global superstar Kane Brown, Pittsburgh native and Grammy-nominated recording artist Wiz Khalifa, and Pittsburgh area native Bret Michaels. All three artists will perform as part of an unforgettable three-day celebration at the 2026 NFL Draft. That wasn't what I was alluding to. This is Los Angeles Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua has voluntarily entered a holistic care facility after a series of off-field allegations. Nacua was sued by a woman earlier this month over an alleged anti-Semitic comment and biting allegation. Newsflash, when somebody's acting erratically, there's usually a reason far underneath. We tried to find out how far it is. Tiger's going for it. Puka's going to find out. Good for them. Takes a lot of courage to do that. Oh, the NBA touted significant interest from a range of prospective teams and investors and enormous enthusiasm for its planned league in Europe, which is expected to field teams in 12 markets, including London, Paris, and Rome. I talked about this last hour. I'll bring it up here for the benefit of those that didn't see it. I did have a tip, and I don't know if some of you will remember this down the line when they announced the Las Vegas NBA expansion team names. Very few of you will remember that I probably had it wrong on this day, April 2nd, 2026. I had a tip that the name of the team is going to be called the Las Vegas Jacks, the NBA expansion team in Las Vegas, the Jacks. Well, that's a proposed name. Well, from a prospective ownership group. They haven't even awarded the team yet. I don't think they even know who the owners are going to be, but one ownership group in Vegas would like the team to be called the Jacks. They already got a logo and everything. I've seen it. From baseball, the Orioles beat the Rangers 8-3 on the first ever walk-off ABS Challenge Wednesday with 2 outs and a 1-2 count in the top of the ninth. Catcher Samuel Basallo tapped his head to challenge what had just been called ball 2. The result, overturned, strike 3. Game over. I don't know where we sit on video replay and challenges, but we ain't going back. That's the one thing that we do know. Sports update brought to you by our friends at Ultimate Fan Zone. Roughriders, Blue Jays, NFL, NHL, you name it, they got it. Rep your team loud and proud with Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store. Shop now at ultimatefanzone.ca. Oh, and by the way, if it's pizza you're looking for, why not make pizza night the Mad Greek night? They don't just rave about the ribs there at the Mad Greek. Everybody raves about the pizza too. Experience authentic Greek flavors at the Mad Greek Eatery, open until 11 p.m. Order online, pick up, or dine in at themadgreekeatery.com. We'll be coming right back with the picks for the NHL tonight, and it's going to take a while. 14 games tonight, including in Vegas, where the Golden Knights are home to the Calgary Flames. We got the Panthers here tonight, home to the Boston Bruins. We'll do the picks when we come back for overtime. You're watching the RP Show here on Silver State Sports in Nevada and across Canada and 33 states on the Game Plus television network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. All right, it's overtime. 4 overtime hockey lanes in Calgary. As you can tell, we're a big hockey show. That's why we love overtime hockey lanes in Calgary. It's an amusement park for hockey players. 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. Just go down there, look up Randy and Michelle. Tell them the RP show sent you. And you can thank me later. It's where skill and fun collide. What do we say? Golf courses, golfers have driving ranges, baseball has batting cages. Why wouldn't you have hockey lanes? Well, in Calgary, we do overtime hockey lanes. By the way, Tisha Heward watching the program, we found it. For those that celebrate, that's what we were talking about. That's the pup line poster back in the day. Mike Sillinger, Jamie Heward, Frank Kovacs. The amazing thing is none of them look any different. That's from like 1987, all holding pups. They're all 16-year-old rookies with their Regina Pats. What a time to be alive. Kevin Gallant came up with it. Hey, Kevy. He watches every day here on Game Plus TV. Okay, Brent in Saskatoon writes in. He says, hey, Rod, did I miss Rod's picks? Nope. You showed up just in time. Brought to you by Pump Jacks Cathedral, Pump Jacks Weyburn. Let's go. Pittsburgh at Tampa Bay tonight. Bolts will win because they got embarrassed at home by Montreal last game. That won't happen again. Columbus at Carolina. The Blue Jackets are stumbling a little bit. I feel like I'm going to go with the Canes at home tonight. Ottawa has experienced rock bottom. Let's hope that they're coming back and they'll beat Buffalo tonight. It's reverse psychology. By the way, I was 66% correct last night, so I know what I'm talking about. Montreal at the New York Rangers. I'll take the Rangers, man. They're a different animal at home. Boston at Florida. I saw what you did there, Jeremy, and you're right. I'm picking Boston. Don't tell the Cats. Detroit at Philadelphia tonight. Ooh, must-winner for both. I'll take Detroit because I'm a Todd McClellan backer. Washington and New Jersey. I can't figure out the Capitals. I'm going to pick them to lose. Every time I do, they win, but I'll take New Jersey to win at home over Washington. The Vancouver Canucks at Minnesota. The only one I had wrong last night was Vancouver at winning at Colorado. Everybody had it wrong. Even Vancouver fans thought they were going to lose. Minnesota will win tonight. Minnesota's a wagon. Winnipeg at Dallas. Man, the Jets are on a run, aren't they? Dallas has been stumbling, skinning their knees. I think tonight they get back on track and beat Winnipeg. The Chicago Blackhawks at Edmonton. I was going to have a poll question today. Who's better, Bedard or Celebrini? But we can not only do that tomorrow, we can do that for the next 20 years. Oilers will win. They're getting it going just in time. Told you they would. Toronto at San Jose. Sharks, baby. Big comeback win last night. Celebrini notched his 40th. That's why Celebrini was on my mind. Calgary at Vegas. This doesn't need to be close. Vegas will win that. The Utah Mammoth, the hockey mecca, Utah, visiting the Seattle Kraken tonight. I think Utah's going to win it. I've picked a lot of home teams here. That's a road team I will pick to win. And the Nashville Predators at the LA Kings. That's a sneaky marquee game of the night right there. Now, while the Kings is coming off a big win last night over the Blues, I'll take the Preds tonight. It is quite interesting, though, how things have changed. Back-to-back nights doesn't mean as much as it used to in terms of being hard on the players' bodies. I don't know why that is. I got to go talk to these coaches. If it's a physical thing, if it's a mental thing, I'm not sure. Home ice doesn't mean as much anymore. I don't get it. But it is fun to stay on top of. And I'm sure if you talk to any sports betting guru or expert, they would have the reasons for it. But I'm not that and don't profess to be. Thank you, John in Edmonton writes in. He says, breaking NFL news. It's official. The Jaguars are coming to Orlando for their home games in 2027. Yeah, it's an interesting time to be alive. I don't know. Maybe it's because I live in Florida. Is that news to you, John? They've been talking about this for like a year. Jaguars are having their stadium renovated, and they're going to play at Camping World Stadium in Orlando, which holds 67,000 fans. I think it's like bigger than their own stadium. So we've known that for a while, but thank you for notifying of that news. We were having fun with the What is the Hockey Mecca? Montreal's winning the poll. To be honest, I feel like there was a time Toronto would have won it, but they're not winning it today. Kirk in Toronto writes in, he says, hey, Rod, only the Leafs and Canadians didn't tear down their iconic rinks. And Maple Leaf Gardens still has a rink, along with Loblaws grocery store. The Forum is now a theater. How about that? Yeah. It's not the same, though. I haven't been in that grocery store in Toronto, but I have been in the theater. And although they have a few seats from the old Forum, it's not the same. Big thank you to Huey. Big thank you to you all for tuning in today and making it big fun. Good Friday tomorrow for those that observe, but we will be on the air with a show here on Game Plus Television and as well as Silver State Sports. Kevin the Medium's going to be with us, and I'm expecting we're going to be joined by Mike Davis from the Vegas Nighthawks. I haven't talked to Mike. Their season's on now, so it's dicey. We'll see. But it'll be a football guy. That's what we'll do tomorrow. So whatever you would like to talk about football. Week 2 of the UFL kicking off this weekend, and I may or may not be rubbing it in Kevin the Medium's face that I beat him coming out of week 1. Thanks to everybody for playing along in the YouTube chat and stream and those that texted in on the program today. Again, big thank you to our sponsors, and we will do this again tomorrow live, noon Eastern on Game Plus, replayed at 4 p.m. Eastern, and, of course, in prime time in Vegas. Have a good one, everybody. Be good to yourself. Thanks for enjoying the RP Show.
That.